suppose Clarence gets to pull something like that out. I guess it doesn't matter if it's a nice Castle or a truck, it's probably the same.
I did one out there now.
And we are recording. So, I would like to call to order the organizational meeting for the City of Nisswa. It is Tuesday, January 7th, 2020 at 5:31 p.m. All council is present, as well as the city administrator, and we have one person in the audience. Jenny, I would turn it over to you. You kind of got the deal in the feedback that you've gotten, if any, so go ahead.
Sure, certainly. Good evening, everyone. In front of you tonight, we have our usual appointments to committees, staffing assignments, and committee assignments and liaisons. A couple of memos you have in front of you to use as you consider what the appointments will be for 2020. The first one is in regards to our cemetery committee. We have historically had a separate committee just for cemetery activity, and although I believe in years past there was a more active group and a need for that, I am proposing that we combine that into Public Works, since the Public Works Department already maintains it and does all of the work needed for that anyways. So we would certainly ensure that all of the necessary things with the cemetery would flow through that committee and department as it really is operationally done now. The second memo I have is relating to our depositories, and it was suggested to me that we add American National Bank as one of our depositories, since they are a new bank in Nisswa. And so I have that included, and as I was thinking about it, also one of the things on my kind of list to get into in more detail, and I haven't really yet, but I don't know if anyone's familiar with the 4M Fund, and it's the Minnesota Municipal Money Market Fund, and it's run by the League of Minnesota Cities. They have historically had more competitive interest rates with their funds than local banks do, and that might be an opportunity for our property tax settlement money to go there and sit there a little bit longer and earn a little bit more interest before we pull it into our local. So thinking about that as well, and maybe seeing if we approve these, then maybe I can start to just look at how that might look. I want to keep it simple, but also it is not uncommon for cities to use the local banks and sort of support them in that way. So I don't think it would be too burdensome for us, but certainly open to your feedback on that as well. The one other item I'm just thinking about, and it was from Councilmember Jacobson, had the suggestion about dissolving our cable commission. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Don, but you had said that basically we have agreements with all of the franchises now. Really, probably nothing new will be coming up.
Within the last year, we updated the one with Spectrum, and the new one that came up north. TS, yeah. And that was just a couple months ago, and I think, if my memory deceives me, I think those are good for 7 or 10 years before they have to come back and get redone again or looked at again. So to have a committee sitting down here for at least 2.5 terms doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. We could eliminate the cable commission, and if anything ever came up, you could appoint 1 or 2 council members to look into the matter. Just kind of clean it up. I just didn't think we needed the cable commission again.
And, I would certainly kind of agree with that, for those reasons, plus with the city administrator now, that can go to Jenny, and Jenny can decide where to, she can bring it to the council or whatever.
Yes. Yep.
I don't know if there's going to be any little things that are going to happen if we get some improvement in the neighborhood back here off the end of Church Street, but you can certainly get hold of the council and let us know what's happening.
Right.
And if you need some input.
And Church, the situation back here would be different than the cable. It's telephone.
What's that?
The situation back here where they don't have any signal,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not a
You're
cable
talking that or
situation.
the Rusty Gibbons development.
Right.
That's
Oh, yeah, whatever. No.
The only other comment I have is for your appointments, item B2, I do list for our labor attorney to be determined. As I shared with the council, Abrams and Schmidt will be dissolving, Mary Lee's retiring, and Tiffany is taking a new position. And so we'll be on the search for a new labor attorney, and I've gotten requests out for feedback and things like that. So we'll work on that here this month and get something going in that regard.
Have you talked to any other communities?
I have.
Who they use and how they deal with what services that they get?
Yes, I have. Last week I did send an email out, and so I've gotten some responses back, and so I'll start to tally all that and then figure out how we go about the next steps. Usually there's an informal interview just to get to know who the representation might be and see if it's a good fit and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Well, so we're going to do this. Let's just take those three items in order. First, the cemetery committee. How's the council feel about terminating that committee? Any objections to it?
Nope, didn't need a motion.
Oh,
Need a motion or not? Terminate the committee?
Well, once, I'm just
Move
trying to
that we
think.
roll it into the Public Works Committee.
It's probably a good idea, worth doing.
Second.
Yeah, let's do that. That was Mike?
Any discussion on the motion? No, Mike. Hearing none, all those in favor, aye?
aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Okay. Cemetery committee now is dissolved and will be picked up by the city administrator and the public works committee.
Okay.
Second would be the cable commission. Anybody have any objections or thoughts on pro or con for that?
I'd move we dissolve the cable commission.
Second.
Second by Ryan. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And I guess the third is just an FYI. And on the labor attorney, Jen, you will
Yep.
notify us.
Yes.
How do you plan on going about making that decision? Are you going to look at them over and come to us with a recommendation, or give us the information and seek our feedback? What's your thoughts on that?
My initial thoughts would be that I think it would be important to have some kind of interview process with them, conversation, I say interview, but whatever that looks like, because this is our labor attorney, probably would be helpful if the personnel committee were the ones to participate in that conversation to see, because employment matters and things like that kind of go hand in hand. So if we can do something like that where we can schedule a time to sit down and have kind of a set list of questions, get a recommendation from the personnel committee to the council, February, March, that would be my ideal thought at this point. If that works,
That's fine.
okay?
Mr. Mayor, I think just a technical question. The suggestion is the official depository for money. That was added. Do we need a motion for that?
That's right. So let's just wrap up with previous. Everybody's comfortable with the way Jenny laid that out?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
Good
Thank
enough
you.
to wait for a report
Yes.
back from you then.
okay, great.
Okay. And then, yeah.
And you could take the depositories if you wanted to take the appointments item, and if someone wants to either add them or leave them as is, you could just do that. unless somebody else has another comment on the appointments piece of it.
Well, let's
Do you wanna
do the
just do-
depository.
Okay.
Let's just do one piece of it.
Okay,
So my question about that is, Jenny, would you tell us again?
yep,
My take is that American National Bank is not going to be in the least bit offended if they are.
If we don't?
They are or are not part of holding some CD money or something like that.
okay.
So my question is, I was kind of signing some things. You brought up something about interest.
Yes,
And which, did you say that we get better interests a lot of times from where we currently keep that money, or?
no, I was saying that
What were you saying?
the 4M fund
Yeah,
is historically, they have been more competitive with their interest, and so I would like to add that one, so that we have a little more flexibility with where we keep our money. They have a lot of good options for programs and things like that, whether it's short-term or long-term, and I think we could kind of dive into that a little bit more than we have in the past. So from that perspective, I think that would be a good one to add. And then, whether or not we want to do all of the local banks, I do appreciate simplicity when you're trying to, keep your records and things like that. So if we don't think that American National would be offended by it, then I think we'd be fine. But I'd certainly, if we feel like we want to have a...
I'm sorry, I was kind of like, what kind of money would we be talking about? Because I don't know, maybe I'll stop there. I mean, I see PJ and Nick down there somewhat
Sure.
regularly.
Sure.
I could just ask them if they're interested or not. I mean, I don't know if there's any money in it for them or not, or, I don't know.
Sure.
So, might be, so like, what kind
Fair
of money?
question.
What kind of money would we be looking to put in having a CD through them?
Sure, offhand, I'm trying to think of what we have at Franzen. I want to say we have about 200,000 in the CD at Franzen, so, it'd be something comparable, I would assume.
Okay. And where would we get a couple $100,000 put in a CD?
Well, we just have money in a money market now,
Okay.
so we would just
So you
move
get
it.
money from there?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
So if
Question.
we decided whether it was American National or whether it was XYZ Bank.
Yeah.
XYZ Bank came in and said, we'll give you 5% on a CD.
Sure.
Do we have to have them listed as an official depository bank? Or could we, if this was in July and we didn't have XYZ Bank as our official bank, could we say, yeah, we'll open a CD with you?
We can say yes, really, anytime. We would also have to update this,
Okay.
so that there's been an official action by the council to say, yes, we agree as a group to make that decision.
Okay.
Yes.
So just on the off chance that at some point down the road, American National or this 4M fund had something that we thought would be beneficial, it probably would be good to just have them listed. Now,
Where would we
Yeah.
have them? I mean, you.
Either way.
Well, just because they're on our list doesn't mean we have to actively use them,
Right.
correct?
But I don't know,
I think
that's why I
what,
was saying, Jenny, just give us your thoughts. I don't know,
Sure.
my understanding, and correct me, are we talking about just putting them on a list and doing nothing? I thought you were sounding like you wanted to maybe do some depository with them, and deposit some money. Is that what you were thinking about? I mean,
No, I was just thinking because it's a new bank and it's a local bank, it's located in the city. The other two banks we do business with, why eliminate the American National and don't give them anything? Even if we don't do any business with them, they're listed officially and they're on the register. She doesn't have to come back to us later on to ask
Sure.
and have a 30-day difference in the request and when we can meet. Like you say, you can put it on the depository list, and if you never use them, you don't use them. But they're a local bank.
and I think she was looking to get more active in the 4M fund, just because of the.
Right,
maybe
right.
better-
And certainly nothing would happen tomorrow because it's year end and we're doing all of that.
And those are separate,
But I think
those
that
are separate entities.
yes.
They're not within the same. 4M is not located within American National. Yeah.
Yep. Right.
So, you're in the banking business. Would you rather be listed as an official entity and not get used, or would you just assume not be on it and maybe someday get used? I mean, what's your?
I don't think it matters one way or the other. I mean, if I was the bank president, I guess I don't care one way or the other. I don't think it matters to them. Yeah.
I know, because one part of me definitely says, yeah, it's nice as a token, but the other part is it makes it more complicated for the staff.
Sure.
I don't know if
Sure.
it's up to the deal. So that's what we have to decide.
It's a local bank.
I would think that there's probably some benefit to add them now. If and when these CDs come due, we'll probably want to shop them. So if they're on the list, then we can reach out to American National because they're on the list. And
Okay.
Yep.
That's,
That seems reasonable. I like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
so do we need
Oh.
a motion?
I'll move that we approve to add an American National and the Forum Fund to our official depositories for 2020.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now, we got all those side things done. Appointments, what comments do we have on appointments? I was going to change every single one of them,
No, city appointments?
just because you guys never like what I've had anyway, so.
Are we talking city appointments or liaison appointments? They're separate.
Well, first one first, yeah, city appointments. So I figured I just, then Jimmy said, no,
I'll move the list as presented.
okay.
Second.
Second, by Ryan. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? City appointments passes. Number 3, city council liaison appointments. Any discussion, comments?
I'm okay with it.
I don't get to play anything?
Huh?
I don't get a liaison spot?
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't. Public Works. It's pro tem.
Fire department? No, oh, that's John, that's right. I thought you had one.
No.
Public Works is a little bit different because there's 2 people at meetings and they participate, so it's,
Yeah.
but
Whether
I,
it's pro
I,
tem or liaison.
It doesn't really matter. We need you there.
yeah.
We want you there.
I don't remember, right off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly where we were. I know, but I remember we talked about putting you, well, that's telling me if there's something that somebody wants to change.
I'm fine. He doesn't want to.
Don't take it personally.
I'd move the list as presented.
Sorry.
Johnson.
Second by Johnson. Comments on the motion? Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4, 2020 committee assignments.
What's Red Flag Committee?
That's if Iran invades the city, then we're the red flags that
Oh, I didn't
hold
know.
the flag and
I don't think they'll make it this far, but
grab the guns, yeah. Come to City Hall to figure out what to do. It's basically an emergency meeting or group, and we're all part of it. I mean, if there's some catastrophe sort of thing, we would all be right over it. Tornado, invasion, whatever it could possibly be.
I would move to approve the committee appointments as presented with the exception of the cable commission that's listed.
is actually assignments.
Assignments, right.
Is there a second to that?
Yes.
Second by Jacobson. Any questions on the motion?
Yeah,
Do we want
I'm sorry, I was looking at the cemetery committee.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I just
I-
assume that's going away.
yeah.
Okay, all right,
I mean, anything that
Sorry.
we discussed and decided,
Got
I
it.
assume is going to be changed.
no questions.
Yep.
That was my take. You guys? think-
Same.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Number 5, 2020 Commission Committee Meeting Schedule.
No changes from this past year.
Is that going to be a
Anybody
problem
think there
for
should
you?
be changes?
Okay,
no worse than any other?
okay.
There's no changes? Anybody?
I'll make a motion that we accept the monthly scheduled meetings as presented.
Seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Hawk. Questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
sorry, I was just looking with my eye, I wasn't opposing.
Is, just a
Was that a motion to adjourn that I heard? Sure.
ex post facto question.
Yeah.
We have the Gull Lake Trail Steering Committee on here. Should that be
I think I
on
have them.
here as well?
I just couldn't find them.
The committee appointments or?
Isn't that kind of a subcommittee?
It's kind of an ad hoc committee. I mean, it's,
Of Parks and Rec?
yeah, it's kind of a
Just
sub, but
asking
no,
the question.
great question, but if we're good with
It's-
a little and more informal, then we're good.
Park and Rec
Okay.
just takes care of that,
Yeah.
I think this is probably.
like I remember doing.
Motion to adjourn?
So made.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, gentlemen.
It was easy.